After visiting Edisto Island, I drove on down to Savannah, Georgia. I visited the Fort Pulaski National Monument. Spent a whole day tootling around downtown Savannah with all the history there. That was really fun and very interesting. So let's go. I'll share with you what I found. I'm Denise, and these are my Goldens, River and Jazz, and my cat Nova, otherwise known as the Traveling Kitty. I sold my home in Alaska, moved us into my 28-foot travel trailer, and headed south through Canada and across the U.S. to warmer weather and the pursuit of new adventures. Come along and join us on our romps. It's a good thing that all that stuff in their coat falls out. I'm here at the Fort Pulaski National Monument and touring the fort at this moment. Fort Pulaski was built over an 18-year period between 1829 and 1847. It sits on Cockspur Island where the Savannah River meets the Atlantic Ocean and was one of 42 masonry forts built between 1825 and 1860. They were called Third System Fortifications and were built to protect the United States ports from naval attacks by foreign nations. So I guess this area is what protected the fort, which is on the other side of the moat. It's a little disorienting. I guess maybe as I'm touring the whole thing, it'll make sense. So there's all these mounds and tunnels underneath, and I think it's just this half-moon section. They have a name for it in the front here that protected the fort, I think. Let's go see. Kind of creepy. This is like a little room, so there's all these tunnels and little rooms in the fort, I guess, which would be expected. Another tunnel out. Fort Pulaski never came under attack from a foreign navy. Instead, Fort Pulaski only saw military action during the American Civil War. On January 3, 1861, Georgia militiamen seized the fort without a fight and soon handed the fort over to the newly formed Confederacy. The Confederates held Fort Pulaski for 1 year until Union forces bombarded the fort on April 10th and 11th, 1862, and forced its surrender in just 30 hours. The Union remained in control of the fort for the duration of the war. The fort saw limited use throughout the rest of the 1800s, and by 1910, the island had been completely abandoned. In 1924, Fort Pulaski was designated a national monument, and in the 1930s saw the Civilian Conservation Corps on the island restoring the fort. With the beginning of World War II, the island was closed for use by the Navy in searching for U-boats in the water. In 1947, Fort Pulaski National Monument officially opened for the public. I am on my way downtown to the visitor center to catch the downtown trolley. They take you around. You can get on and get off different stops all through the historic downtown of Savannah. Referred to as the hostess city of the South, Savannah is the oldest city in Georgia and has a long and colorful history. From cobblestone streets and public parks to some of the most unique antebellum architecture of the South, Savannah is an old beauty that has aged with grace. Established in 1733 when General James Oglethorpe and 120 fellow passengers on the ship Annie landed on a bluff along the Savannah River. Oglethorpe named the 13th and final American colony Georgia after England's King George II. Savannah became the first city of this new land. A few decades after the founding of Savannah, it proved a strategic port city in the American Revolution and during the American Civil War. In 1778, the British took Savannah and held it until 1782. Eventually, a land-sea force of French and American troops reclaimed the city's independence. After this turbulent time, Savannah saw a long period of agricultural flourish. With rich soil and a favorable climate, Savannah and its surrounding land became home to cotton and rice fields as plantations and slavery became highly profitable systems. And the invention of cotton gin in a nearby plantation meant that the city rivaled Charleston as a commercial port. Fast forward to America's mid-century era of the 1900s, when Savannah experienced a renaissance of sorts. In the 1950s, a group of women banded together and preserved historic structures set for demolition. This led to the formation of the historic Savannah Foundation, and Savannah's historic district was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1966. While I enjoyed my time exploring Savannah, I was eager to get to the Florida Panhandle and visit my niece and nephew's families for the holiday season and spend some time in an old stomping ground. I'm gonna go watch the sunset. I was accidentally down there for sunset last night. I screwed up my time lapse, so I was hoping that tonight we'd have a good sunset again. So I'm on my way to catch it over the bay. So the sun is perfect. We got here. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more travels with me, the Goldens, and the Traveling Kitty as we make our way south along the Atlantic seaboard.